From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Max Darrow. Welcome to our Saturday showcase. We begin with progress and setbacks in the efforts to feed people in need. In a moment, John Ramos will introduce us to the driver who has just delivered his last breakfast bags in Contra Costa County. But we begin with Kevin Coe and the community college students in the South Bay benefiting from a free meal program that is the first of its kind.
West Valley College student Leilani Hernandez knows how it feels to window shop at her cafeteria.
Obviously, the embarrassment comes in because you aren't able to get your own meal. And I think coming from a low-income family, you can't ask your parents for $30. They just don't have that. My eyes would always hurt so much, and I would just closing them for just a second. I would be like, I need to eat, and I haven't eaten. And it's like, what am I gonna eat?
Skipping meals is common for students like Leilani, who spend most of their finances on things like transportation and textbooks.
I don't want students to be choosing between food and textbooks.
Chancellor Bradley J. Davis has led the district since 2008.
We did a study of about 2,000 students, and the number one thing that came back as a result of that was that our students were struggling with food instability. It's difficult to focus and concentrate on your goals when you're hungry. So I think that's the first and most basic component of the plan. Two, I'd like to show that where there's a will, there's a way.
The way it works is through each student's ID card. $30 is added into every student meal plan each week, which can be used at campus cafeterias and cafes. In the first 3 weeks of the program, there have been more than 30,000 free meals served.
We are proving that this is very important. We are combating food insecurity. We're serving more students.
Sophia Cuevas is part of West Valley College's student government, where she says almost all student concerns are linked to food insecurity. She and her peers hope other community colleges also adopt similar programs, as they believe being fed at school is a basic human right.
Despite how necessary it is to have food, it's a matter of how important it is to the leaders at that academic institution to make it happen for students.
For now, it's of utmost importance at 2 community colleges in Silicon Valley, where other free programs like food banks already exist. The new meal program is an extension of this campus's belief that good grades don't just come from the classroom.
Getting those resources and getting the free food is not something to be ashamed of or anything. It's amazing that now our college has been able to create a solution where students don't need to feel singled out because they need extra food.
The Universal Meal Program is available at West Valley College in Saratoga and Mission College, Santa Clara. Chancellor Davis hopes other community colleges will also take this up. Now to John Ramos in Antioch, where more than 500 homebound seniors are losing out on what many consider the most important meal of the day.
Meals on Wheels has grown greatly since the pandemic, and while every social safety net program is financially challenged these days, it is their most vulnerable clients who are seeing their meal program come to an end. For 11 years, Vijay Bahel has been driving food to homebound Antioch seniors, and he absolutely loves doing it.
Helping the people who are in need of this. People who cannot walk, who cannot go out on their own, and they get the meals at home. That is the best part of this program.
Yeah. He has about 100 clients in the Antioch area that he delivers to each week. But the program is ending on Thursday, at least for breakfast.
And there's eggs in here.
Lindy Maines-Koltoff is a board member for Meals on Wheels Diablo region. They are the only group in the Bay Area to have a breakfast bag program, delivering 5 to 7 days worth of morning edibles each week.
There are some of these seniors that are having chemotherapy, and so breakfast is really important to them. This was actually started during the pandemic, and so we got funding for this. And we've continued the funding up until now.
I feel very sorry for these people.
So on this day, a melancholy Vijay had to deliver his breakfasts with an apology.
Hello. Today is our last breakfast bag delivery.
Okay.
So sorry, we are going to miss you.
Okay.
It hurts because he knows that his homebound client, Alfred Dadu, at age 90, is pretty much alone in the world.
That's a curse.
It's
That's
a curse?
a punishment from God. Give you a long life. Because long life, you cannot walk, you cannot do this, you need help from everybody.
But there was a time he had no trouble walking. In fact, he was a world-class gymnast, competing for his home country of Egypt. You were in the Olympics?
Yes, 2 times in the 50s.
Oh my God. Do you remember those days really well?
Very well. I have pictures and I have the magazines.
Later, Alfred became a professional bodybuilder, meeting a young up-and-comer named Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then went on to serve in Vietnam. He has an amazing life story, but since his wife died and he can't leave the house, there is no one left to tell it to. Others are more lucky. They meet for lunch at a Meals on Wheels cafe at the Concord Senior Center. Here, the socializing is as important as the food, but even that is scheduled to run out of money in April.
I'm not sure whether it would close. We're going to have to find the funding from somewhere, but what we're going to have to do is reduce the participation. We're going to have to turn people away.
Because you have too many people coming in.
Correct.
The need is growing while resources are dwindling. Federal government cuts are passed down to the state, and then to the county, and then to Meals on Wheels. But ultimately, it falls on guys like Alfred Dadu, who end up feeling like a long life is a curse rather than a blessing.
Because of its own budget problems, Contra Costa County removed the $750,000 that funded the breakfast bag program. Meals on Wheels is hoping it can raise funds through public and corporate donations. For more information, go to our website, kpix.com.
Heading into the first weekend of October, and we're returning to a normal weather pattern across the Bay Area. Just a little bit of fog out there this morning. It's not going to take long for that to dissipate, even at the coast. I think you're going to see plenty of sunshine by this afternoon. And after a cool several days in the rearview mirror, we're going to return to near normal temperatures this afternoon. That means 60s at the coast, mostly 70s around the Bay, and a mix of 70s and low 80s farther inland, but even the warmest spots staying below the midpoint of the 80s. And that's not bad at all for early October. We'll take a look at the full 7-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Coming up after the break, San Francisco is building a brand new elementary school despite declining enrollment in the district. We'll hear from the superintendent, who shares excitement about a facility that's more than 2 decades in the making. Welcome back to our Saturday showcase. We now turn to the anticipation in San Francisco about 2 facilities that will soon be open to the public. In just a moment, Kelsey Thorud will show us what residents think about renovations at the historic Castro Theater. But first to Brad Hamilton and the excitement about a brand new school that will welcome its first students next fall.
For the first time in over 20 years, San Francisco is getting ready to open up a brand new school. And for the superintendent, this is more than just this big building behind us. It's about the community that surrounds it. It isn't the prettiest sight or sound right now, but when it's done, Dr. Maria Sue says it's going to be a thing of beauty. Not just the building, but the opportunity.
We knew that we needed to have a school there because with housing comes people with families, and we wanted to make sure that we had a school that our families could access.
When finished, Mission Bay Elementary will be the first of its kind in the neighborhood, and the first new campus built in San Francisco in more than 20 years. When the idea was first presented years ago, the superintendent says there were plenty of skeptics.
We trusted in the data. We knew that we were going to expand industry out there. We were going to expand housing out there.
Now, she thinks it's a sign of growth despite several years of overall enrollment decline and a laborious process to get this school built.
It's been well over 2 decades since we opened up a new school, so this is extremely exciting for us.
The timeline itself breaks down like this. Construction finishes in early 2026. Pre-K and kindergarten begins next August. And by 2032, a full campus through 5th grade. And the need? Well, Mission Bay is one of San Francisco's fastest growing neighborhoods, packed with young families competing for seats in already crowded schools.
There definitely is a need over here.
Yukina Sanford knows that struggle all too well. She grew up here, raised 2 sons of her own, without a school right down the block.
I wish my kids could walk to school and not have to catch the bus all the way across town. And that's pretty much what my kids had to do. They had to go across town to get to a decent school. So I'm excited for the residents here.
Yes, the future is bright, but for now, it's blueprints, cranes, and construction. In less than 2 years, Dr. Sue says this developing lot will transform into something far greater. A campus built for children and a promise finally kept.
We're going to be there on day one to have a very vibrant and wonderful school that the Mission Bay community and, quite frankly, the greater district will be very, very proud of.
As you can see, this building is still under construction. It's going to take some time. So again, that first school year you heard, it's going to be pre-K and kindergarten. That's August in 2026, the first bell.
San Francisco's Castro Theater is set to reopen after more than a year of renovations. You know, many people are really excited about this, but the makeover isn't making everyone happy. Here's Kelsey Thorud.
After what has become a multi-year renovation, the historic Castro Theater has finally set a reopening date.
Oh, very excited. It's been closed for far too long, so excited to see it back open.
The theater, which closed back in February of 2024, will reopen in February of 2026 with a bit of a different look. The new owners, Another Planet Entertainment, who owns several venues across the Bay, have ripped out the old theater seating on the main level to make way for a more modern multi-use space.
I love the Castro Theater. I love the architecture, the nostalgia, and I think it's great they're investing so much money into it for the community.
But even before the renovation began, not everyone was so excited for the change. A large contingency of theatergoers fought APE to keep the original seating in the theater. After a drawn-out battle, they lost. But even over a year later now, some people still have a bitter taste in their mouth.
I just think that APE, Another Planet Entertainment, did a really bad job about community outreach. So they made the whole process so much harder for themselves. If they actually talked to the community, they might have been able to smooth the path. Instead, they just brought in lobbyists and talked to the supervisors, and it pissed the community off, basically.
APE says the new layout will help bring the theater into the future, allowing for more than just films to be played in the space, but also concerts and comedy shows. The company says its goal has always been to preserve the history of the building while helping to revitalize it. Still, some worry the new owners may change more than the building. The historic venue was known for playing classic, indie, and queer films many other theaters didn't. Even though the space will be different now, many want that programming to stay.
I think the Castro's going to reopen and do a reasonable amount of the old films like they used to do before. I think that's great. But if it's going to shift everything to, music concerts and other kind of events and less of the movies, then I'm not as excited about it.
For now, we'll just have to wait and see. APE says it will be announcing the first lineup of shows soon. And while the divide over the excitement for its reopening still remains, some are hopeful that things will begin to mend once the venue actually opens.
I think when people see the product and when they see what they deliver, they'll be happy with it.
Coming up, a social worker in Santa Clara County who was once addicted to drugs is now working to help others get clean. But the work that she takes great pride in is being threatened by budget cuts, and other healthcare programs are facing a similar fate. We'll introduce you when we return.
Your community, your news, powered by KPIX. CBS News Bay Area. Watch anywhere, anytime. Stay informed and connected. Trusted local news when you want it. CBS News Bay Area. Watch free on any device.
Santa Clara County expects to lose about $1 billion over the next few years due to federal Medicaid cuts. County leaders are trying to narrow the gap with a ballot measure next month. Len Ramirez introduces us to a social worker who has a lot at stake with the outcome.
If you just met Mia Jareggi today, you'd never guess the painful path she took to get here. She's now a county hospital social worker, helping others and serving the public with pride.
It's the best feeling in the world, Len. It really is. It's indescribable. I feel like I'm doing exactly what I was meant to do. Like I'm fulfilling the purpose for my life.
But Mia's past life was full of hardship and survival. Born to drug-addicted parents, she says her childhood was filled with chaos and neglect.
Started experimenting when I was 15 years old, and from 15 to 35, I was full-blown active addiction.
One year, while serving time, she earned her GED, but her self-destructive cycle continued. Then, facing prison, a judge gave her a choice, hard time or rehab, through a nonprofit that helps people get clean called Pathway Society.
The day that I went, I was using up into the moment that I was on my way to treatment, and once I got there, it was like a relief. You know, I didn't have to fight anymore.
All right, just have a seat right here.
Pathways provides a structure that Ruben, a Pathways counselor, says is key for the thousands of people it serves. Daily check-ins, group therapy, life skills training. 21-year-old Sergio, who just checked into a downtown group home, says without it, his future was grim.
Either in jail or dead.
But health-related programs like Pathways could soon be wiped out by looming federal budget cuts. 98% of the program's funding comes from Medicaid and Medi-Cal, but it's not the only program in danger. Santa Clara County, which administers and fills in funding gaps, is projecting cuts of more than $1 billion to programs like Pathways, plus its 4 public hospitals and 15 health clinics.
It is catastrophic on every front. From the number of layoffs that have to be made, the service lines that will have to be cut back. The residents, the patients of this home behind me will be on the streets.
To address the shortfall, the Board of Supervisors voted unanimously to support Measure A on the November ballot, which would raise the sales tax by 5/8 of a cent for 5 years. It's expected to bring $330 million a year to help pay for public health.
Vote no on Measure A.
But Measure A faces a vocal opposition from taxpayer groups led by people like Dan Stedging.
The timing's wrong for this tax. We've got record inflation and people can't put groceries on the table and gas in the car.
Supervisor Betty Young says there is no other way to keep the doors open for programs like they were when Mia went through.
I know the cost of living is challenging for many people, and that's why we structured the sales tax measure the way we did. Temporary, 5 years, 5/8 of a penny, and essential items are exempt from the sales tax measure increase.
After completing her own recovery, Mia got a job with Pathways, helping people like herself. Then came a bachelor's degree and later a master's in social work.
I actually was able to walk across the stage and get my master's degree and get hooded on my 13-year clean recovery milestone.
Mia seized the opportunity to get help, to get clean, and turn her life around. But now, with the future of rehab riding on the ballot box, she worries that people in the same position she was in may never get the chance.
We made it to the weekend, and we made it out of that unsettled weather pattern that we had for the past several days, and now we're getting back into just kind of a normal October pattern. Temperatures this morning are significantly cooler than they've been recently. We'll talk about the reason why in just a moment, but we're also going to return to near normal temperatures by this afternoon. That means a mix of 70s and 80s farther inland, lots of sunshine. Even at the coast, we're going to see plenty of sunshine today and tomorrow. A gradual cool down next week, especially by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but no chilly or cold weather in store for us. The next shower chance is going to hold off until the very end of next week. The reason for the cooler temperatures this morning, we had clear skies overhead for most of last night, other than some patchy fog, and there's less humidity in the air. It felt kind of muggy the past several days with that unsettled weather pattern. On the muggy meter, we were either in the noticeable or flat out muggy category. Now we have retreated to the comfortable category, and that's where we are going to stay for the next several days until that next chance of rain moves in. It's going to require some moisture from somewhere, but right now it's a limited rain chance, lower than the 50-50 line on the rain chart. We'll keep an eye on that as we head through the weekend and into next week. But it's a nice weather pattern as we go through the weekend. Temperatures today are going to return to basically exactly what's average for early October. Specifically, what that means is a mix of 70s and 80s inland. 77 degrees in San Jose is 1 degree below average, up to 80 degrees in Morgan Hill. But even the hot spots far east of the Oakland Hills, Fairfield, Antioch, Brentwood, 82, 83 degrees. We can handle that in October. A year ago, we were talking about record-setting 100-degree high temperatures. So this is a whole lot better. Temperatures in the 70s around the bay with 60s at the coast. So what we expect, and mid to upper 70s for the North Bay. Even the warmest spots in the North Bay, Santa Rosa and Healdsburg, staying just below 80 degrees during the afternoon. We're going to see similar temperatures as we head through the next several days. Let's take a look at the 7-day forecast, and we're going to see those temperatures kind of hovering in the lower half of the 80s inland all the way through the beginning of next week. But then you notice that little bit of a cool down Wednesday and Thursday. We're still going to see plenty of sunshine, just a cooler air mass kind of drifting towards us. And then our chance of showers arrives on Friday. It's not going to amount to much in all likelihood. Late in the day looks like the most likely time frame for some of those showers to move in. But when you're talking about the last day of the 7-day forecast, we can't be very confident in the specific hour-by-hour timing. Just something that we're going to continue to evaluate as we head through the next several days. We get these new batches of forecast model data every 3 to 6 hours, so we'll keep an eye on it for you. Bayside temperatures are going to stay in the low to mid 70s through midweek and then dropping just a little bit down to around 70 degrees by Thursday and Friday with that chance of showers Bayside as well. Same pattern at the coast, except temperatures really aren't going to change as much, mainly staying in the middle portion of the 60s. But you're going to see plenty of sunshine even at the coast, not just this weekend, but really at least the first half of next week. I think a gradual increase in cloud cover on Thursday before that chance of light rain showers heads our way Friday into Friday night. Stay tuned for updates as we head through the rest of this weekend.
Coming up after the break, we'll meet a breast cancer survivor from Oakland who is now serving the same organization that gave her a lifeline during her own fight.
From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Welcome back to our Saturday Showcase. I'm Max Darrow. We now turn to efforts to raise awareness about serious health conditions that primarily impact women. In a moment, Lorene Ayub will introduce us to a Bay Area resident hoping to shine a spotlight on a common but underdiagnosed cause of infertility. But first to Veronica Macias and the woman who survived breast cancer, now working to help others gain access to care.
When you manage to beat cancer, you become a survivor in this world. And in Ellen Shaler's case, an advocate in pink.
Here is
She's been cancer-free for about 20 years, but it's still a big part of her story. Since being diagnosed in 2005, she's participated in almost every More Than Pink walk for the Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Foundation. All these years later, she vividly remembers the first survivor ceremony after her walk. It's there where she found a community of brave women.
They were calling all the survivors up, and this woman said to me, "Are you coming up, up on the platform?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know if I'm a survivor yet. My radiation starts tomorrow. It's only been 3 months." And she said, "You're coming with me, honey." And she pulled me up on that stage. I was bawling. And
Ellen would go on to win her fight, cancer never defining her, but leaving scars. Not taking any chances, she decided to have a double mastectomy because of the risk of cancer running high in her family. And as her husband had vowed, for better or for worse, he made sure she never lost her optimism or her sense of humor.
I said, I'm not going to have my breasts for my birthday when I turn 46. I'll have had this surgery. And he said, "But you'll have them back for mine in February." So, going into my bedroom. But
at home these days, things are quiet in retirement. As she walks down the hall, you can see how tidy her house is kept. In her bedroom is a notebook she kept during those difficult months with cancer. It's right beside all the words of encouragement, which she has been neatly preserving in a keepsake box.
6/30/05, ductal carcinoma in situ. I actually was going to show you this box. I keep all of my fundraising records in here.
It's money the organization says is making a difference when funding from the government seems to be on the chopping block.
Funds to provide services directly to patients who need the care right now. But we also are funding cutting edge research. And we are second only to the US government in funding research. We have provided over $1.1 billion in funds to breast cancer research.
A key part of thriving is the research and doctors, but so is trusting your gut and always advocating for your own health. In her case, doctors initially missed the cancer in her mammogram, and had she not gotten a second opinion, she wouldn't be sharing her story.
I've lost a lot of friends and loved ones, not even always breast cancer, but some kind of cancer.
Telling her story does give her a bit of survivor's guilt.
You know, of course I'm thankful and I'm grateful, but well, what are you going to do? Well, you're going to raise money for Komen because
contributing to Komen is her way of showing gratitude.
And gets, you know, at least have a fighting chance.
For her second chance at life.
Now to the woman hoping to get the message out about a common but sometimes overlooked cause of infertility. It's called PCOS. Lorena Ayub spoke to her about the life-changing diagnosis.
Marissa Chase never imagined she would need to walk into a fertility clinic to start a family. But after continuously trying to conceive with her husband, hope began to fade.
You know, it was finally the time. It was the time, you know, the month that we were going to start trying. And ultimately, it was pregnancy test fail after fail after fail.
For Marissa, each failed test brought new questions. And with no clear diagnosis, fear took hold.
It was honestly terrifying, right? Because you didn't know. Everything runs through your head like, never going to be able to have a family, among other things, right? So it was very scary.
Marissa turned to RMA of Northern California, a fertility clinic specializing in advanced reproductive care. There, Dr. Jonathan Court uncovered what she had not known all along. She had PCOS. Polycystic ovary syndrome affects about 1 in 10 women of reproductive age. According to the U.S. Office on Women's Health, it's a leading but often underdiagnosed cause of infertility.
So a lot of times our patients with infertility have been trying for months and even years at home, and often they're told to just keep trying. But in the majority of patients with PCOS, they're not ovulating regularly, and sometimes they're not ovulating at all. So there's no, them trying at home without any treatment is not really effective. And that's why if patients aren't getting a clear sign that they're ovulating, it's worth getting treatment sooner to give yourselves the best chance.
For Marissa, that treatment led to the moment she thought might never come. Pregnancy. Not once, but twice.
I will never forget it. Literally never forget it. It is the best feeling in the entire world.
Now she shares her story with hope that others might find answers, and love as powerful as the one she now knows.
Nothing about birth and what they say is underrated. From just like the emotions, being scared, being excited, to actually experiencing that type of love for the first time. I think that every person on this planet should be able to experience that type of love because it's completely unique.
Though the path to motherhood was not easy, Marissa says every step was well worth it.
Heading into the first weekend of October, and we're returning to a normal weather pattern across the Bay Area. Just a little bit of fog out there this morning. It's not going to take long for that to dissipate, even at the coast. I think you're going to see plenty of sunshine by this afternoon. And after a cool several days in the rearview mirror, we're going to return to near normal temperatures this afternoon. That means 60s at the coast, mostly 70s around the Bay, and a mix of 70s and low 80s farther inland, but even the warmest spots staying below the midpoint of the 80s. And that's not bad at all for early October. We'll take a look at the full 7-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Coming up, it is a kitchen controversy. With a swipe of a pen, Governor Newsom can ban non-stick cookware over concerns about potentially toxic chemicals. When we return, we'll hear from an East Bay chef who is pushing back on the proposed law. Welcome back. Now we turn to efforts to protect Californians from potential threats to their health and safety and some of the challenges along the way. In a moment, Suji Nam will introduce us to the Bay Area researchers who are using AI to predict wildfire risks. But first to Brad Hamilton and the debate over a potential ban on non-stick cookware.
For Chef Brian Hoagland, the kitchen is more than just a workplace. It's the space where he feels most at home. But now, he worries that some of the tools that he's relied on for years could be taken away.
Part of my opinion is I feel like chefs should have the choice to use the tools they want in their kitchen, not be told what tools we need to use.
And that fear stems from a law now sitting on Governor Gavin Newsom's desk. Senate Bill 682 would ban the sale of nonstick cookware and other kitchen products made with a group of chemicals called PFAS, commonly referred to as the forever chemical. Arlene Bloom, an environmental health scientist at UC Berkeley, has spent years tracking their impact.
These chemicals never break down, ever. And all the ones that have been studied are known to be harmful. So you only want to use a chemical like that if there's no substitute.
The author of the bill, State Senator Ben Allen of LA County, says the initial legislation aimed to eliminate any product made with PFAS. But to get a deal done, they started with several categories that have been phased out elsewhere, including nonstick cookware.
Every single product that we're looking to phase out in our bill has already been successfully phased out in at least one other state in the country, in many cases, many other states.
The bill is drawing high-profile supporters, including actor Mark Ruffalo, who played a lawyer facing off against a PFAS manufacturer in the film Dark Waters. And then there are against critics, like celebrity chefs Rachel Ray and Thomas Keller, who argue that the ban goes too far. Steve Burns, the president of the Cookware Alliance, believes the industry he represents has been unfairly targeted, and he also pushes back on the claim that nonstick is proven to be unsafe.
Completely safe. And as a matter of fact, the United States Food and Drug Administration has specifically authorized fluoropolymers to be used in the preparation of food.
So what's in a pan has turned into a bigger fight. On one side, health and safety. On the other, cost and convenience. But for chefs like Brian, the debate feels like it's happening far away, but the impact could land right here in his kitchen.
We'll abide by the laws, of course. We'll maneuver which direction we need to make things work around here. That's what we do, you know.
Dozens of groups pitched their products in a competition hosted last week by PG&E. This is all about wildfire safety. Suji Nam tagged along with one group as they demonstrated their method for predicting where wildfires may strike.
"30 seconds for the video."
It's all coming down to this moment. Subarna Bhattacharya, the CEO of Climeformatics, is prepping with her teammates before making their pitch to PG&E.
Been waiting for a moment like this.
Bhattacharya and co-founder Datalina Ivanova, both former employees of Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, created this AI platform to predict climate and extreme weather months in advance.
We have actually trained our models to reflect on the physics-based models.
She said they can predict areas of wildfire risks with 95% accuracy, using climate modeling across varying environments and data science.
In this case, you can see we forecasted on the May 1st that you're going to have severe, extremely high severe fire danger index over the end of August. It just so happened that you had the Mariposa peak fire that started on the 26th of August.
She's been in talks with CAL FIRE about her platform and hopes the Pitch Fest can open doors for a partnership with PG&E. PG&E's VP of Wildfire Mitigation, Andrew Abranches, is one of this year's judges and says the Pitch Fest is positive for both pitchers and the company.
We're bringing the wealth of other people's thoughts to this problem, and if they can think about things that we haven't thought about, even if they are in the nascent stage, sparks my thinking, sparks my team's thinking, and sparks the dialogue.
He says that with 5.5 million meters on California's electric grid, their mission is to focus on what they call continuous monitoring.
Monitor how the grid is degrading actually, such that through that monitoring of it, we'll be able to take action. So if something is going down, we know, hey, it may break over here. Over what time period will it break?
And it's through innovators like Bhattacharya who hope they can make a difference. Through a 15-minute pitch, the Climeformatics team explained their goals of wanting to bring this technology to the market.
I think it went very well. I loved the opportunity to be able to present our technology, put our solutions for other industry verticals like manufacturing.
Now it's the waiting game to see if they qualify to move forward. But Climaformatics is excited as their work is just getting started.
7:45 on this Saturday morning. When we return, we dive into a distinctive art form as we meet the artist specializing in this traditional woodblock tattoo art form. A new exhibit in San Francisco features photos that show the work of a tattoo artist from San Jose. Ryan Yamamoto talks with him about his traditional Japanese prints that he has been producing for decades.
What if you could stare?
Kind of at a loss for words, to be honest.
At your legacy.
Get really emotional seeing this. It brings back a lot of memories.
All those memories gathered together in a single moment and then frozen in time for everyone to see and study.
At the end of the day, I think I'm really grateful that I have all these people that took this journey with me and put in the hard work to get these tattoos done and let me do it.
For nearly 3 decades,
I started tattooing in 1998, so almost 30 years now.
Taki Kitamura has given his life to an art whose body of work is now part of an exhibition at the San Francisco Main Library called Living Tattoo Traditions, American Irizumi and Beyond.
I gotta say, I never thought I'd be looking at my work and colleagues' works of mine in the San Francisco Public Library. You know, we've always seen it as art, and not necessarily that we needed the validation, but it's really nice to see that I think that outside the larger society as a whole is really appreciating tattoo art. And I think this exhibition in particular appreciates the cultural significance that not just art, but also culture is something that carries culture, passes stories down, and celebrates.
All right, everyone turn around, please. We were there last December for the exhibition photo shoot.
Test fire.
As dozens of his clients gathered in San Jose to model the work of Kitamura's Japanese woodblock style of tattooing, a style that still carries a stigma in Japan.
Yeah, the Japanese tattoo really isn't accepted in Japan. It's getting better over time, but I think they've had a very troublesome history. Tattoos were used by the government to mark criminals, so right away there's a stigma. And as much as we love the Yakuza cinema, you know, I think like Yakuza movies really played up that everyone tattooed was part of a criminal organization. But that said, I mean, you know, we have ex-deputy director of the U.S. Marshals. There are 3 or 4 active law enforcement in there, a handful of retired law enforcement as well. I think especially with Japanese tattooing, a lot of people that identify with the warrior ethos, the samurai ethos of gaman, of persevering. But it really applies to a lot of people. I think a lot of people gravitate toward this style.
Allison Witkoff, who works as the director of exhibitions for the library, says the photos not only tell Taki's story, but will take people on both a cultural and historic journey.
I hope they come away with an understanding of tattooing as a way of storytelling, as a conduit of cultural heritage, and as the tattooed body as an archive and memory keeper.
Those memories form between the artist and person who wears their art, and for fellow artist and Taki's wife, Molly. She says they wanted to show that tattooing is truly a partnership.
The client is everything. It's their body, it's their choice, and they're wearing the tattoo for their lifetime.
We're not putting us on an elevated level over the client. Rather, the two of us together can create something very special, and in this case, hopefully carry on culture and celebrate it.
A celebration of art through needle and ink, images now on display, shining a light on a true body of work.
You can check out the tattoo photo exhibit at the San Francisco Main Library through next March.
We made it to the weekend, and we made it out of that unsettled weather pattern that we had for the past several days, and now we're getting back into just kind of a normal October pattern. Temperatures this morning are significantly cooler than they've been recently. We'll talk about the reason why in just a moment, but we're also going to return to near normal temperatures by this afternoon. That means a mix of 70s and 80s farther inland. Lots of sunshine. Even at the coast, we're going to see plenty of sunshine today and tomorrow. A gradual cool down next week, especially by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but no chilly or cold weather in store for us. The next shower chance is going to hold off until the very end of next week. The reason for the cooler temperatures this morning, we had clear skies overhead for most of last night, other than some patchy fog, and there's less humidity in the air. It felt kind of muggy the past several days with that unsettled weather pattern. On the muggy meter, we were either in the noticeable or flat out muggy category. Now we have retreated to the comfortable category, and that's where we are going to stay for the next several days until that next chance of rain moves in. It's going to require some moisture from somewhere, but right now it's a limited rain chance, lower than the 50-50 line on the rain chart. We'll keep an eye on that as we head through the weekend and into next week. But it's a nice weather pattern as we go through the weekend. Temperatures today are going to return to basically what's average for early October. Specifically, what that means is a mix of 70s and 80s inland. 77 degrees in San Jose is 1 degree below average, up to 80 degrees in Morgan Hill. But even the hot spots far east of the Oakland Hills, Fairfield, Antioch, Brentwood, 82, 83 degrees. We can handle that in October. A year ago, we were talking about record-setting 100-degree high temperatures. So this is a whole lot better. Temperatures in the 70s around the bay with 60s at the coast. So what we expect, and mid to upper 70s for the North Bay. Even the warmest spots in the North Bay, Santa Rosa and Healdsburg, staying just below 80 degrees during the afternoon. We're going to see similar temperatures as we head through the next several days. Let's take a look at the 7-day forecast, and we're going to see those temperatures kind of hovering in the lower half of the 80s inland all the way through the beginning of next week. But then you notice that little bit of a cool down Wednesday and Thursday. We're still going to see plenty of sunshine, just a cooler air mass kind of drifting towards us. And then our chance of showers arrives on Friday. It's not going to amount to much in all likelihood. Late in the day looks like the most likely time frame for some of those showers to move in. But when you're talking about the last day of the 7-day forecast, we can't be very confident in the specific hour-by-hour timing. Just something that we're going to continue to evaluate as we head through the next several days. We get these new batches of forecast model data every 3 to 6 hours, so we'll keep an eye on it for you. Bayside temperatures are going to stay in the low to mid 70s through midweek and then dropping just a little bit down to around 70 degrees by Thursday and Friday with that chance of showers Bayside as well. Same pattern at the coast, except temperatures really aren't going to change as much, mainly staying in the middle portion of the 60s. But you're going to see plenty of sunshine even at the coast, not just this weekend, but really at least the first half of next week. I think a gradual increase in cloud cover on Thursday before that chance of light rain showers heads our way Friday into Friday night. Stay tuned for updates as we head through the rest of this weekend.
Coming up after the break, we'll meet an East Bay student behind an award-winning book, why she is hoping to preserve an ancient language from thousands of years in the past. As we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, we are highlighting an Oakland high school student who is helping keep an ancient Mayan language and culture alive. Here's Kara St. Cyr.
Lorena Mendoza grew up speaking a language few can understand.
It has something to do with the mom history. My parents started talking to me since I was little, and then certain words, I got caught up to those words and I understood.
Lorena speaks Mayan Mom, an ancient Mayan language originating in western Guatemala. Experts estimate it's more than 2,400 years old.
But I don't think they get enough recognition.
But the number of people who can speak it is dwindling, making Lorena a rarity, or so she thought.
Interestingly enough, we have a big project on Mayan mathematics, and he's of Mayan Mom background.
Javier Armas, Lorena's high school Chicano studies teacher, took an interest in the Mom language.
I was teaching Mayan mathematics at Skyline High School. All these Guatemalan students came up to me and said, "I'm Mayan, I speak Mom." And I said, "What is Mom?"
That question prompted research, and he enlisted students like Lorena to contribute.
Oakland has a humongous Mayan Mom community. And so I asked my students, I was like, do you guys want to learn the history of your Mom culture?
The result was a 161-page book
published at Skyline High School
called Mom History, written by Javier and his students. The book sold hundreds of copies on its first day, but the sales meant nothing to Javier.
And I think we can learn a lot as a culture and as a society by excavating and researching these other systems that exist alongside with American and European cultures.
For Lorena, it was personal.
My dad was the one who helped me too, because he will honestly felt proud of me just because he said that it's an accomplishment, and because it has to do with something where he's from, and because he's also never like seen like some like students create like a book towards like their history.
This book is just one chapter in the story of Lorena's heritage, but a notable one she can share with the world.
One more check of the forecast for today. We return to basically normal temperatures for early October. That's a nice little change from the past few days, but pleasantly warm. No extreme heat like we saw 1 year ago this weekend. Temperatures are going to be within a degree or two of average this afternoon. Low 70s around the bay with upper 70s and low 80s farther inland. Looks like a really nice weekend for the Hardly Strictly Bluegrass Festival. Temperatures today will be a little bit warmer, retreating slightly at Golden Gate Park on Sunday, but it still looks like a nice day with plenty of sunshine overhead throughout the weekend, even close to the coast.
Looks like it'll be a beautiful weekend for plenty of events happening all across the Bay Area. Thank you so much for joining us for our Saturday showcase at 7 and KPIX News at 6 o'clock this morning. Don't forget the news continues all day on CBS News Bay Area. We'll be back here tomorrow morning bright and early at 6 o'clock. From all of us here on the team, have a great Saturday.